So this idea of you becoming the best person you can be, living your best life, and creating a better society is at the core of every single faith. I mean, the whole idea of our society. You know what I mean? It's like if you look at every self-help book, the whole idea of schooling, make yourself a better person, make yourself smart, intelligent, healthy, wise, all of those great things, right? Integrate virtues into your life, but also to help the society. You need to contribute and be a part of the society in a positive way. Otherwise, we're really not helping. We're hurting everything.
Hey, it's Rocky. Welcome to Richer Soul. Today's guest is Andrew Calderella, who's going to share with us how to live a meaningful life and make a difference. Imagine it's 12 months from now, and you've achieved your major life goals. How does it feel to be in the best shape of your life? To wake up energized, excited about the day? To have great relationships and friends who support you and propel you forward? How does it feel to have an excess of money, to be able to make the choices you want? To be fearless and open to trying new adventures? Imagine being connected to the universe and it providing everything you desire. It's possible over time, and your past does not dictate your future. The only thing holding you back from this vision is you. It's time to take control of our thoughts and use them to our advantage. Welcome to Richer Soul, where we achieve our dreams and create harmony to health, wealth, relationships, time, and spirituality. If you have not had a chance to listen to episodes 1 through 9, I encourage you to go back and listen to the framework behind Richer Soul and how to create the life of your dreams. You can also find all the show notes for this episode at richersoul.com. Today's quote is from Mark Twain. Don't let school interfere with your education. That's what we're going to see happen with today's guest. And before we get to him, I have a few comments I want to share. But let's review last week's action step, which was to check out our guest's website, sparkslead.us, and learn something about leadership. They've got a lot of free guides and presentation material there. You don't even have to put in an email address or anything. They let you download it all. It's important that we become a spark in our world to bring about change. Remember, it's up to us to create the world we want to live in. Getting back to our quote, our current education system is broken. Even the National Education Association says it can't teach their 4 C's, which are critical thinking, communication, collaboration, and creativity and innovation. The world's changing fast, and schools can't keep up with that rate of change and bring it into the classroom, which means many of the skills they're teaching in technology are way behind. That means you have to know how to learn and solve problems on your own. And that's not a skill we're teaching kids in school. We have a labor shortage for technology and the trades. And right now, boys are being left behind. The rates of them entering colleges versus girls is at an all-time low, which is going to have massive societal impacts. It's hard to change societal trends, but you can change your surroundings. Remember, we control the controllable. 18 years ago, I thought about running for the school board to make change. My wife said to me, "Shut up and write the check." I did so, and I'm glad I listened to her. It was too big a change to make with too much resistance. Finally, at the end, we just went it alone. We had our kids pick their best path forward for them and learn how to learn on their own and learn how to learn the 4 C's. College is not that much different than a regular education system, and the costs are astronomical. We've discussed this before. However, you can pick your path and your path may have nothing to do with college. Again, we come back to our quote is don't let your school interfere with your education. Listen into our guest story as he talks about what he experienced. Andrew Calderella was born in Detroit, Michigan in 1966 to parents fighting the civil rights movement. His life is a combination of the Rocky story, Think and Grow Rich, and the Celestine Prophecy on steroids. He has been through so many harrowing and intense situations that those stories alone could fill volumes. He was overcome by dyslexia and other learning disabilities, being legally blind in one eye, and being bullied, to becoming a school leader, athlete, and attaining a university degree in speech and communications, religious studies, and Eastern philosophy. He's lived overseas, traveled the world, is a martial artist, yogi, and what many call a health and fitness fanatic. He's a serial entrepreneur and has run a successful strategic consulting firm for over 20 years. He's the creator of the 7th Foundation in One movement and the best-selling author of The Way, 7 Revolutionary Steps to Living a Meaningful Life and Making a Real Difference in the World. Let's meet Andrew. Welcome to Rich Your Soul, Andrew Calderella. It's great to have you join us today.
Thank you for having me on your show.
As always, I'm excited to learn from you today. Let's start at the beginning. What was it like when you were growing up, and how much did your family and school teach you about money?
Sure. Everybody kind of wants me to start at the beginning, so that's a really great question. I was actually born in Detroit, Michigan in 1966 to parents that were fighting for the civil rights movement. I was born with dyslexia, other learning disabilities, and a lazy eye. Now, the lazy eye meant I was seeing 2200 vision out of that eye. They put a patch over my good eye to make me look out of that bad eye. As you can imagine, I couldn't see well, I couldn't do much, couldn't read, write, do arithmetic, catch a ball to save my life. I was bullied relentlessly, felt stupid every day. Teachers got into it. One elementary school teacher told me I was too stupid to learn anything and I should just drop out of school. So just for clarification, I did graduate from elementary school. I went on to high school, became a school leader, was on track, cross country, went on to college, was on the crew, which is rowing. I was elected programming commissioner. I obtained degrees in speech communication, theology, and philosophy. Went on to travel overseas, got a job in Japan, traveled the world, started so many different companies. And I just said that just to put it in context. I've also been working on a greater mission my whole life. And as far as your question goes regarding money, it started when I was really young. I started a little tiny business when I was in elementary school, actually. I don't know if it was before or after that teacher told me I was too stupid and I needed to get a job. But I started buying these little cards off the ice cream man, all different types. And the monster cards became really popular. So I go to school, show them to my friends and everybody in recess, and they'd buy these cards from me. And I did this for weeks and weeks. And then the principal called my parents and told me to stop because I was taking all these kids' lunch money and they couldn't buy lunch. So it wasn't a good situation for them, but that was my first experience with money and my parents kind of teaching me. And I didn't obviously do so well when I had a lot of money as a child. I bought a lot of candy and toys and things like that. I certainly didn't say much. But then my dad taught me about that. My brother and I then started a business when I was in college. He went to the Naval Academy, and in the senior year, all the graduates get money to purchase a vehicle. So I made all these deals with brokers and car finder people, and we started collecting what everybody wanted, and we were going to have this huge party and bring in all these vehicles. And then all the local car dealers got wind of this, and they shut me down. Detroit actually called the main guy that I had in the Midwest that was going to stock all the cars and help me find them and everything, and told him they either stop doing this or they would destroy his business. So it was really hardcore. And since then, I've started so many different businesses, from brick and mortar to online businesses. I've been running Consulting A since 1999, which is a strategic consulting firm that really started off in SEO and online marketing. So, and again, I've worked with so many different companies throughout the years. I was a recruiter for a while. I've done so many different jobs. So I've actually helped build companies, and I know what all the challenges are in there. Hopefully that gets us started on the answer there. I know I went on a little bit.
So where did this kind of entrepreneurial bug come from? Was it something your parents instilled? Was it just something that was natural to you?
I think it was kind of amazing, I think, as a child that I could make money. I remember my friend and I even got together during the summer. I live close to this place called Magic Mountain, which is a big amusement park. So in his backyard, he had a big backyard, we made all these games, bowling and ring toss, you name it. We kind of emulated all these different games. And we'd even have the kids from the neighborhood come by, they pay $1. They could go in and play all the games. Our first round wasn't so good. Everybody kind of got upset. So we had to jazz it up. We started giving away grapes. He had this big grape vine and all sorts of stuff to jazz it up. And it became really popular. I think that the idea that you can make money just by doing something was so unique as a kid, because you just want so many things. And the idea, I think, is what started me down that path. My dad is also very entrepreneurial. He started businesses. He's worked, for a lot of different companies throughout his life. And I think his businessman persona as my father instilled this idea of doing business. You know what I mean? Because he just get up, dressed in a suit every day, tie. He was a leader in his business. And I think it just inspired me.
So did he have conversations with you, or was it just you watching him?
Sure. We had conversations, certainly, as I was growing up. He passed away pretty young. So as I got in my older years, he wasn't around. But certainly, when I was younger, I was also a little difficult kid for parents. Like I said, I had all these learning disabilities. I also had some gifts that made me they call me on the spectrum or whatever. So I was a little difficult to deal with in some respects. And my dad worked all the time. And when we talked about business and communication, and he was also my disciplinarian too. So, you know what I mean? It was, he played a lot of different roles in my life. We did talk about that stuff. I shared so many ideas. You got to realize too, part of my gifts is I'm super creative. I'm what they call a genius in abstract thinking. And I started coming up with business ideas and ways to do things when I was a little tiny kid. And so we always talked about stuff. And just to give you one insight on that, and it just struck me right now, and I just want to share this little moment with you. It was like when I was a kid, we were in a coffee shop. My dad gets his coffee, takes his coffee cup top off, and puts it down on the table. Now, he put it down on the table, he put the top down, and most people do. When you look at it, they put the top down. And I was a little kid, I turned it upside down. I turned it the other way so that the top is facing up where you drink. He's like, why did you do that? And I said, well, because you put the part where your lips are touching on the table instead of the bottom part where it will never touch your coffee. I don't know if you can see that in your mind, but my dad looked at me and he goes, I've been doing this my whole life. I've seen other people do it this way. I didn't ever even thought about that. And I remember him saying that to me. He was like, Andrew, just keep doing what you're doing. That's the gift right there. And I think when I was a kid, it's like those moments with my dad is what kind of instilled a little bit of confidence in me. You got to realize I was bullied. I was almost drowned. It was like every day was horror for me as a kid. I didn't want to go to school. If it wasn't for my mom and my dad, I really don't know that I would have made it, So I think that those moments of not only teaching me about business, but also instilling confidence in you that you are worthy is part of the whole entrepreneurial thing. Because if you don't have that confidence that you do know something, that you can do something, you probably won't. It's like, especially as a kid, it's hard to reach out and do something new when everybody's telling you you're too stupid to do anything. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm saying to you as a business owner, as an entrepreneur, when you're first starting this, it's your confidence, your belief that's going to get you through. You can spend years and years and years trying to work at something and finally become successful. It's all those years of effort where you didn't give up, all the challenges that you faced when you were set back, but then you got up the next day that will make you successful.
And that's what it's always about. It's just getting back up, taking the next step, pushing through the fear, and showing up and being able to do that. So was there something besides your parents that helped you overcome all of these negative influences that you had in your life?
Absolutely. I know that some people have a really hard issue when you talk about God. and especially the word God. I remember I was just on a show recently, everybody freaked out about the word God. It was a live show. And so I want to say that my interpretation of God is not of a religion. It's the creator of all religion. You know what I mean? It's like, that's what the religions are talking about, is this one God. They're trying to interpret it. So when I was a kid, and again, I don't want to come over, overly spiritual, but I was brought up as a Catholic, but I had problems with the church. And like I said, I was bullied a lot, and I was wearing a patch. So my inner world was very bright, and I was very creative. So you remember Casper the ghost, the friendly ghost who never had any friends. You know what I mean? He was always, I so related with Casper. I can't even tell you. He was like, my best friend was Casper, and Kimba the lion, trying to fight for good and all that. So in my mind, I had these friends, and I had some spiritual experiences when I was a kid and throughout my life. And honestly, if it wasn't for this relationship with this higher supreme being, the divine, the one, I probably would not have made it, because these negative things in my life created a lot of negativity. I honestly wanted to kill myself, and I still have been scarred since I was a kid and have issues with, depression or suicidal thoughts, negative thinking, all those kind of things. I actually did a video on it just so people know on how to overcome these things, as well as addiction. It's one of those issues in life. I was just on a show recently. We were talking about this. It's like all the problems in the world seems to be the people that really work to solve them are the ones that been through the most trauma, right? I talked to a really wealthy person the other day, and he goes, "The only reason you care is because you don't have money and you've been been hurt in your life. All the rich people that have wonderful lives, we just don't care because we're living these wonderful lives." I feel really sad for that guy, because there's a lot more to life than just money, right? I mean, yes, you can travel around and live in kind of this fake reality, and think everything's wonderful, but there's a lot more to life than that. So, like I said, for me, I think it's us trying to figure out how we can be the best people we can be and live this the best life we can live. So that's what I've been working on my whole life, is trying to overcome all of this trauma that I had and to really just be me. You know what I mean? It's like I woke up as a kid every day just happy and wanting to be, whatever. And you go to school and people are throwing you in trash cans and smacking you and, trying to drown you or whatever. And it's so unbelievably wrong. You know what I mean? My sister has had operations since she was a little kid. And with my issues, we used to go to the hospital all the time. And you see all these children that are dying or horribly burned or deformed or whatever. And it's just, as a kid, I just remember just being like kind of broken. I mean, I remember trying to be happy and just feeling like, why is this so wrong? And I think that the goodness, we're all made in the image of God. We're all the children of God. There's a spark of divinity within us. And it's this light that kept me going. I know it was kind of a long answer, but, so without that spark, without my forever friend in this goodness, this light side of life that I was focused on, I wouldn't have made it. I mean, it was honest. I mean, that's been part of my life, my whole life. So I don't know if you believe in God or not, but I'm proof, at least for myself, that God exists for me.
I do. And in addition to what you dealt with growing up, you've also had to deal with a lot of accidents. How has that affected you?
If you actually look at all of my life, it's a miracle I've made it here, honestly. And, it's like I've been attacked by dogs numerous times. Any one of those, I could have ended my life so quickly. As a little kid, I'll just tell you the first dog attack story. I was probably the first time I ever walked by myself. Yeah, I'm in Detroit. Let me set the stage. Let me go back. So I'm in Detroit. I'm probably 4, maybe, 5, something like that. And first time walking or whatever. We have neighbors that I live on a cul-de-sac. We live at the bottom end, at the round part. And these neighbors live at the other end, right up near the top of the street. And they invited me to lunch. This was my first time going to my friend's house alone, and having lunch with them without my parents there. And then because I had lunch and I was walking home alone. My parents were outside. They were outside. They were watching me walk down the sidewalk. And around the corner, there's this German Shepherd, crazy dog this guy had. And sometimes it got out, and it was out, and it saw me, and it took off. And neither one, my parents or our neighbors, our friends, were close enough to me to get to me before the dog could get to me. My dad's running, they're running. I see the dog, everybody's screaming. I fall down in this driveway as I'm running up it. The dog leaps in the air, is about to pounce on me. My dad picks up a rock, throws it, hits the dog in the side of the head, knocks him out, comes over and picks me up and saves my life. That's kind of the story of my life in that moment. I've had so many close calls that didn't lead to an accident. I can't even begin to explain, but I mean, that was just the first dog attack. When I was like a teenager, I was attacked by another dog. I almost lost my leg because it got me this time in the middle of the street. And luckily, I was able to defend myself from it getting onto my neck, and they finally got the dog off me. But I got infected. I mean, I was days away from losing my leg, and they told me this. I didn't know. They were like, if your leg doesn't improve in the next 3-4 days, you're probably going to lose your leg. So once they told me that, it was like my inner light came on, and 2 days later, my leg was on the heel. So there's a lot, and again, a lot more of these experiences. I've been hit by cars numerous times, riding my bike through a crosswalk, sitting at stoplights twice, 60 miles an hour from behind. The second time that happened, it laid me out for 5-7 years where I couldn't even stand up or walk correctly. It was agony all the time. I finally got standing upright in 2000. This was in 1999. And in 2007, I was hit again, laid me out again for another 2-3 years. So, all of these accidents and all these trials and tribulations I've been through, even all the fights. Oh my God, I've been through so many fights. They all taught me a lot of lessons. It's almost like I had one way to escape this and make it through whole. And if I didn't find that needle through the haystack type situation or whatever that word is, I wouldn't have made it. And like I said, it's I think those things, they teach you great lessons. I mean, I remember laying in bed in my 30s, think I never walk properly again. I never stand up. And if you go from working out 2-3 hours a day and being super physical and all of that to not being able to move, and if you move, you're in agony, it's mentally challenging, to say the least. And I've talked to other people who have been paralyzed throughout my life, and it's challenging. You have to kind of go all mental and just figure out how to heal yourself. And without surgery and just time and effort, I was able to do that. So, like I said, I think all these trials, while I wouldn't wish them on anybody, I don't even like looking back at my life a lot of times because it's traumatic and it's depressing because it's so hard. But it allowed me to be here. And the only reason I think those things happened to me is because I asked to know the truth. And sometimes humanity needs to be burned to learn, and shaken to awaken. We can't see what we can't see, and we don't know what we don't know. So sometimes it's a hard path for us to see those things. Does that make sense?
It makes total sense. And in addition to that, you have had tremendous success in your life, and we'll talk a little bit about it. We're here today to talk about the book, and I just love to know what inspired you to write the book, The Way: 7 Revolutionary Steps to Living a Meaningful Life and Making a Real Difference in the World. Your ultimate guide to positive relationships, optimal health, true success, and lasting happiness.
Thank you very much. What inspired me to write this is really, I've been on this mission really since I was young. And I mentioned I had a lot of spiritual experiences. I gave myself into the idea of fighting for the light side. I don't know why God picked a dyslexic, half-blind kid to write a book, but that's what happened. And it took me over 30 years. And again, I had some really spiritual experiences throughout my teens and whatnot in my 20s and 30s that really solidified this mission. And it's to find the solutions to the greatest problems that are facing humanity. And I found so many epiphanies as I was doing all this research, trying to understand what I've been shown, that I call it the 4 pillars. It's of self, society, universe, and God in this major work I was working on. Let me just say this. In 2015, that's when I discovered the 7 steps to the way. So in 2015, I've gone through almost 28 years of research, and I had this massive book. There's no way I'm thinking that anybody's going to read this, but I just keep working on it. And it almost lost my mind doing this because there was so much in so many different genres. Because to be our best, we need to know a lot of information in all these different areas. So, in your mind, your body, your emotions, your spirit, financially, in your family, in your friendships, at work. It's a lot, and there's no way that everybody can find all these solutions. What I did is I did find these, but I couldn't figure out how to explain them to everybody where they could make sense because it was just too much. And then in 2015, it was Good Friday, and I took the day off to work on the book, and I was sorting out the beginning and ending, and I kept finding my references to this is key to true success. This is key to true success. And I put all these 7 keys together in the right order, and it was seriously like a secret code got unlocked. I could see how the epiphanies, insights, universal truths that I had discovered through through all these years fit into the way and how I can explain it to people. And let me just say this. I know it sounds, everybody's got books and everybody's claimed this and claimed that. That's not what this is. Okay, I'm not a writer guy. I'm not like trying to put out books to make money, though I'd love to make money from it so I can support myself. But this is a life's mission that is revealing some great truth to humanity. And once you understand what those truths are, it can really change who you are and change our society. So the idea here is, I know that there's a lot of skepticism out there, incredulity. How can this guy know this and do this? How can it cover everything? All I'm saying is give this a shot. Don't write me off. Don't let me stand in your way. This isn't about me. This is about humanity and how we as humanity found a way to be our best and create a better world. And I think if you, as good people, would, don't lose hope and really look at what I found, we can join together and really make the changes in the world and all be happier. And, it really doesn't have to be this way. All this horror we see in the world is just a manifestation of kind of our humanity being unfocused, unclear on what the true purpose is, why we're here and all the other, deep, meaningful things that we're all after, right?
So true. Too many people are in the drift. And when you get out of the drift and you have purpose, and life becomes much, much better. So in the title, it says true success. For you, what is the difference between just success and true success?
Actually, the book starts out asking this question, and it is, what is the true goal of life? And then we get into the discussion a little bit. People say, I want to be successful. And again, what does success mean, right? In our world, what does success mean? Usually, right now, it's tied to wealth, power, and fame. But if you look at the lives of the wealthy, powerful, and famous throughout all of human history, talking kings and queens and captains of industry and you name it, it's not like when you gain this power, you gain this wealth or this fame that you automatically know what to do. You're happy, you're healthy, all your relationships are good. If anything, it's more of a challenge, right? You can become corrupted. You can become distant from your family, your friends. It can isolate you. It can feel like you don't have any firm grasp on what is real. And if you're surrounded by sycophants and everything else, it's almost like every wrong you do seems right and can lead you astray. So what I found is that's not true success, right? So true success, and again, I talk about this in the book a little more detail, but really comes down to what a loving mother wants for her child, right? They want their child to be healthy and happy, to have wonderful relationships, that they last their life, hopefully, that they find something that they're really passionate about that's good, that ideally can support themselves, and all the other facets of what makes up a good, happy, wonderful life. And that's what we all really want. Power, money, and fame can be a part of that, but those are challenges within it. Those are roles you fill. Those are tools that you gain access to. They are not the goal of life, right? So the goal is for you. And again, in step 4 of the way, we talk about, let me just step back a second. So the way is, the way that all of humanity can succeed, I define, and this is the solution that we're all after. And please forgive me, I'm still starting on how to explain all of this. It's all new. I spent 30 years to write a book. I'm still in a couple months on learning how to explain what I found in a couple minutes. So just as audience, just bear with me a little bit. The way is living rational, positive action. And this is a solution that all of humanity is after. And I say that because any solution you're after is going to change your life, and you need to live it, right? It can't be something we do once in a while, that just comes up. You need to find a solution that you can live all the time. It needs to be, so living rational has to do with, it has to be logical. It has to be customizable to fit your life and her life and his life and everybody's life. It needs to be about happiness. It needs to be fulfilling. It needs to be holistic, right? It needs to cover all the different areas of life. Because truly, if any, you're only as strong as your weakest link, right? It's like, you ever seen that guy that runs around and he's balancing plates on sticks? You ever see that? I use this analogy a lot. You got to keep moving and keep them all balanced. And that's kind of like what life is. If you say, well, I'll take care of my health in a few years after I make money, you may never get there because you're going to be spending all your time in the hospital because you didn't take care of your health. And all of this is true. So it's living rational, positive because it's good. And the highest good, the highest desirable traits that humanity wants, we call virtue, right? So if you look at any success book, self-help book, you can almost go through it and find the virtues on every chapter that they're talking about, like this, coach books, dedication, discipline, being healthy, listening. I mean, these are all virtues that people are trying to attain. So living rational, positive action. And the action has to do with, to turn a virtue into reality in your life, you need to take actions. And sometimes there's more than one, right? So like the idea of being punctual, as a virtue means you need to leave on time. You need to set reminders, right? Being healthy. You need to eat properly, sleep properly, drink properly. There's a lot of different facets. So you need to have these. And what I've found is that what humanity is labeled the best way to do something is called a best practice, right? So there's maybe 4 or 5 best practices for every situation, and maybe 1 or 2 of them are better for you. But the idea is, if you could live rational, positive action, integrating virtues and best practices into your life, it'll help you become a better person. And what I found is there are a set of basic foundational best practices that will help you integrate a wide variety of virtues into your life that will help you integrate the rest and become a better person right off the bat. And that's what the way is all about. It's about these core virtues and understandings that will allow humanity to stand on a foundation, join together, and make the changes within our lives to make ourselves better people, but also in our society to make it a wonderful place for everybody. Make sense?
It makes sense. And in the book, you talk about 4 different pillars: self, society, universe, and God. Can you expound on these a little bit?
Sure. When I was breaking up just the major kind of sections of life, it's like if you look at, let's talk about the human condition for a second. I like talking about this because it really sets up the stage for everything. You ever seen the Child's Game of Life?
Oh, yeah, we have it. I still have mine from when I was a kid.
Okay, so you know what I'm talking about. So for everybody that doesn't or whatever, it has a box, it has a board, then you open up, you make choices along the way in your life, and some of it's random, some things you choose, and it ends up, are you successful or not? Our actual universe is set up the same way. We call these, the rules and regulations, the human condition. There are universal human conditions like gravity, this fact that we're in a universe, day and night, entropy, all these big things, right? And then there are the human-centric ones that really are specific to humanity. And the fact that we're born ignorant, that it takes us so long for our kids to grow up, that we need food and water and light and all these other fuels to help us become a good person. We need, develop our minds. And again, all the rest of those human-centric human conditions. You add these all together, the universal and the human-centric, and you come up with, they focus us really in 3 ways. And the 3 ways are self-creation, self-control, and societal development. So it's really on you. You literally have to make yourself from a little baby to a person, right? You need to feed your mind and all this, and you need to control this and make choices along the way if you're going to become the best person you're going to be. The fact is, though, we're all born ignorant and totally helpless, so we're totally dependent on our caregivers and our society to help us, if we're going to have a good start. So this idea of you becoming the best person you can be, living your best life, and creating a better society is at the core of every single faith. I mean, the whole idea of our society. You know what I mean? It's like if you look at every self-help book, the whole idea of schooling, make yourself a better person, make yourself smart, intelligent, healthy, wise, all of those great things, right? Integrate virtues into your life, but also to help the society. You need to contribute and be a part of the society in a positive way. Otherwise, we're really not helping. We're hurting everything. Does all that make sense?
It makes total sense. Today's episode is sponsored by Profit Answer Man Podcast. Did you know that most small business owners hate looking at their financials? It's one reason they may struggle with business success. The Profit Answer Man podcast helps them ensure they are profitable and can pay their employees and weather the storms we all have to face. It's built on the Profit First methodology of pay yourself first. The Profit Answer Man podcast is a must listen to for every small business owner and anyone who wants to help them survive and thrive. Check it out on your favorite listening platform. So beyond the 4 pillars, you've actually got 7 keys that will allow you to achieve this. So let's start. The first one is called no. Right? What did you mean by that?
Okay, well, let's start. So the way is living rational, positive action. Now, the first 3 steps are what can get us all on the same path. And now this may seem simple, but it's supposed to. It's also very deep and key to understanding all of humanity and kind of how we're made. So if you think about the idea, the first step is no. The idea is for us to know something, we must be exposed to it. And if you're exposed to the good, the positive, you as a human being naturally want it for yourself, right? If you know the difference between love and hate, you obviously want to be loved, right? That's the second step, is to want. So if you know the good, the second step is to want the good. So if you, let's say, automatically that to be loved is better than being hated, clean water is better than poisoned water, being free is better than being a slave, and all of those things, right? I don't have to really explain that to you. And once I show it to you, obviously make the right choice. So the second step is to, once you know the good, you obviously want it. And this is the idea of humanity. If you're standing here with me, do you know the good? Yes. Okay, the second step is, do you want this? Do you want the good for yourself and your family and your loved ones in this world? Of course you do. If you're a good person, you want the good, right? And then the third step is to then choose the good for yourself, because it's not just a matter of wanting something. You literally have to choose the light side if you're not going to fall to the dark side. You can't just waddle through life and vacillate. You need to make a choice. So the first 3 steps are, I want the good, I choose the good. I'm sorry. The first 3 steps are, I know the good, I want the good, and then I choose the good. And that's how we all kind of hopefully are standing together as humanity, right, on these first 3 steps. Should be fairly obvious. Then we take the 4th step, and the 4th step is the first key to really making this change, because now that you know that you know it, you want it, and you've chosen it, the key is to center yourself in a core belief system that will allow you to achieve this true goal of life. Now, this is really important. And again, I'm sorry if I'm not doing justice to what I found. I'm still learning this, so please give the way a chance. The 4th step is center. And let me just tell you a little backstory on this. What I found is when I was studying all of like the mind and the body and how we change ourselves and all this psychology, I was deep into Freud and Jung and Skinner and all these other guys that were talking about, no, if you change your mind, you'll change who you are. No, if you change your actions, you'll change who you are. And this kind of battle in psychology, what I found is they're both true. If you change your mind and your body is true. But one of the most key insights I had, I was deep into Freud at this point. I was comparing him to Jung because they were the two that were kind of have not necessarily competing ideas, but kind of rose up at the same time, have some different ideas. And Freud was talking about these patients, and he was going back and forth like, they both have the same problem. One is getting better and the other one isn't. What is the differentiating factor here? And what I discovered in that, and it kind of put it all together, was it's the belief. Truly, that's it. The center of this person succeeding is his belief that he can get better. You know what I mean? The one guy did not believe that he was ever going to get better, was hopeless, and the other guy saw that he could. So that idea, just think about this, the power of your belief. This is at the core of placebos, of faith healing, of pretty much all the power of the mind. You see that a woman lifted a car off her child. You know what I mean? You name the stories. There are stories of people that had their legs blown off in the war that were given placebos that nulled the pain, and it was fake, and the pain went away, right? So, and again, our minds are so powerful. So the question then became, okay, so if this is true, what are the core beliefs that will allow us to navigate life and that will kind of insulate us and guide us and all the rest. And again, I told you I had a lot of spiritual experiences. One of these, I was given these 10 laws when I was a kid. I'm a kid. I call myself a kid. I was a teen or in my 20s. And I realized that it's these 10 laws that are at the core of it. And they set the whole stage. They set your direction. They allowed you to navigate all of life, and it will fix most of the problems in life. And if you like, we could go through a couple of them right now. All right, cool. The first two I call the laws of purpose. And this is true for, if you look at all of faith, all of society, this is kind of a whole idea. So the first law is the primary purpose of life is to be your true self, live your true life, and go to heaven. Don't get freaked out by the word heaven. If you're a non-believer, you can leave that out. If you are a believer, you don't have to use the word heaven there. You can use whatever you want. The idea is become your true self, live your true life, and go to heaven. And the second law is the true purpose of society is to create our true society. So let me just say it like this. It should seem obvious that the ultimate goal of life is for you to become the ultimate you, live your ultimate life, create the ultimate society, and go to the ultimate place. I mean, you know what I mean? That's the ultimate goal. And think about it like this. You, as all the roles that you fill, it doesn't matter what it is, being a dad, being a boss, being a mom, whatever it may be, are better, and you're able to perform better at all these different roles if you are the best you can be. To say it like this, if you're overtired, you're emotionally anxious, you're confused, you're not going to be the best person to your kids, to your, when I do coaching for businesses, I swear, like most of the time, it's you solve the problems in the executive's life, their business becomes better because their employees aren't, you know what I mean? It's not like any of this stuff is separate. So living rational, positive action translates into you becoming the best person you can be, living your best life, creating a better society, and ultimately going to the best place. And again, that's the summary of pretty much all of life, all of faith, connecting with God and all the rest. Now, the next three laws are what can solve most of the problems in the world. And I'm not going to give them to you in the order that they're in the book because I seem to have a better discussion when I do it this way. So these two ideas of equality and the golden rule. Let's talk about those two ideas alone could really fix most of the problems. The idea of equality, first of all, does not mean that you have to like everybody enough to hang out with them all the time, want to have a beer with them, and all of that. Okay, equality really has to do with the fact that we're one human race, one species, and which means we're all family. And for science, this is true. We share 99.9% of our DNA. And for the faithful, religious, we know that God created everybody and everything. So science and religion agree that we're one human family. So in that sense, the idea of equality has to do with us creating systems that are equally fair and good and helpful to everybody, right? So our justice system, our water systems, our, whatever systems all have to be created in a way that treats all of humanity equally. And you can think about it like this. If it's not okay for you and your kids, it's not okay for theirs. It's like there's no difference between us as humans. We cannot like somebody as a person or their beliefs or their traditions, but it doesn't mean that they then need to be treated with less respect, without regard, discriminated against and all the rest. We can help them see the truth. The idea of the golden rule has shown up throughout all of human history and all of our faiths, and pretty much everybody's, core belief. They're like, yeah, the golden rule. But what does it really mean to treat others as you want to be treated? Right? It's like it's based in equality. It's based in, the fact that we are men, some of us, half of us in this world, creates a lot of issues in the world. And if you, as a man, aren't treating your brothers and other people in the world as you would want to be treated, it's going to create a lot of problems because we can see the arrogance. We can see certain types of men who want to put their thumb over everybody and control everybody and dominate, and they think that's their purpose. And that's like one of the biggest problems in the world. So if you have as your core beliefs as treating everybody as they want to be treated, and you see everybody as equals, and the third one, which is respect life, which really has to do with caring for our world properly, because it will care for us, right? It gives us clean water, clean air, it really sustains us. It grows our food, everything else we want. If we just care for it properly and help it thrive, we can thrive. So caring for our world, treating others as you want to be treated, and equality seriously could change the world if we hold those at our core beliefs. Just look at all the injustice around the world. George Floyd, there's no way he could have been murdered if that police officer in his mind is thinking, wow, this person is equal to me, and I'm going to be treating him like I want to be treated. And if you think about it, most of the inequities in the world would be ended if we saw each other as equals and treated each other as we want to be treated. You know what I'm saying? Does that all make sense?
It makes perfect sense. Not always easy to do, right? We all get stuck in our ruts and our behaviors and our habits, and learning to change those and essentially upgrade our programming.
That's exactly it. And I think that's really the key of the way. And I actually say this in there. It's like, if you're able to put in really good information, universal truths, and when I share these universal truths with people, they really can't be denied because they're universal. And the idea is, we as humanity, we grow up right now. Nobody knew the way until now. So there's, people of all ages that are, at different stages of life. So the question is, like, how do we get everybody on the same page? And we can't start from the fringes. You can't be talking masks and all these fringe issues that all the dividers are wanting us to talk about to create all sorts of issues so they can create more power, gain more power and more wealth. What we need to do as humanity is go to the center and fix all of these core issues so that we can stand on a firm foundation together and then unite in a way that we can make these changes happen. If we continue to listen to the dividers of the world, like all throughout human history, we'll end up in the same place. Violence will never lead to lasting peace. It's never going to happen. Okay, you're not going to drop bombs, slap people, yell at them, emotionally abuse them, call them names, speak down to them and have them like you and listen to you. It's just not the way humans work. And in our society right now, and again, it's always happened this way. Okay. I just want to be clear on this too, because this is kind of like why my friends keep telling me why you were delayed so long and why the way is coming up right now, is that if you look at the world right now with the pandemic, the way it's translated, into destroying so many people's lives and changing the world, more people are awake right now to the problems of our society than they ever have been. But we're also more connected than any time in human history. We as individuals can do a show and talk to the world. This could never happen before. We would have to go through the power brokers, the people that run the magazines, the newspapers, the TVs, if they would even allow you to speak, and then they could censor you and all the rest. So we can also connect as a world like never before, right? Just look at Facebook, 1 billion people. What are they doing on there? Imagine 1 billion people connected and working on themselves to be the best person they can be, as well as fixing our society, right? And that's what the way and the one come in. So the way is the book. It's the founding ideas. I created the one, which is the one tribe, the one movement, and the one party. Now, the one tribe is, not everybody's going to read the book, I know, but you can still get the ideas through videos, through discussions, through shorter videos and trainings and all that kind of stuff. So that's in the one tribe. We're going to do that. And we're all going to kind of share our businesses together and try to help everybody become their best. That's the one tribe. The one movement is about us all, when we want to join together to fix some inequity in society, it takes unity. It takes people. Just think about it like this. It's like all of the civil rights movements around the world. There are so many individually fighting, in all these different countries for their rights to be seen as equals and all that. Imagine if all the groups join together in one group, not saying you shouldn't keep your own group and keep doing what you're doing, but if you're also joined in this meta group that then could help and support you. And, just think about, like, if you're in Nigeria and there's 10 of you and you want to fight for civil rights, it's very scary. It's just you guys alone. But if you could join with millions of other people all over the world, they're also fighting for the same civil rights and will back you up and promote your message and, give you support and all the rest of it. That's power. Okay. So that's the idea of the one movement. And the one party is about creating a new political party that goes beyond this divisionary politics. I think if you look at humanity and the way we've evolved our democracies, we've become very fragmented and very monofocused. You know what I mean? Like the Republican Party, wealth, individualism, whatever. I'm not necessarily doing it right. Or the Democrats are about X, Y, and Z. But the truth is, if you look at all these statements, they have virtues in them. You know what I mean? Being financially responsible, being humane to people, treating people with respect, having businesses contribute in a positive way to society. All of these things are kind of virtues. So the idea is, want to have a political party that integrates all virtue into it and doesn't leave any of them out, and really is just about implementing solutions without regard for politics. You know what I mean? I can't tell you how many people I talk to go, yeah, we would like our water systems to work, our schools to work, our transportation system to work. It's not about politics, right? This has nothing to do with it. I want to drive down the road and not have potholes destroying my car or the bridge falling down. Okay, that's human. We need our governments to do what they're meant to do and stop all these stupid games and all the wasted money and all the rest of the stuff. We need our society to also pick up the slack. The business can't be separate. I can't tell you how many problems are caused in society just by the fact that business thinks it's not part of society. So, it's just business. Oh, it's all about money. You just leave your problems at the door and come here and be a machine. Like, I'm sorry, that's not the way it works. We are human beings. We're giving up the best hours of our life to help you build this business, and you can't pay us appropriately. We can't have a life. You're going to destroy the world as you're doing this. Oh, we must pollute endlessly because that's the way business is. It's just business. No, that's what evil, corrupt people think. You know what I'm saying? This is about us creating a better world together. So anyway, does that make sense? I could go on and on about this.
It does. So here's the question. What have you found holds people back from finding true success?
It's because we don't have knowledge. We don't have the right knowledge. Everybody I've ever talked to throughout my life, it's always about you missing a piece. If you have 5 of the 10 pieces you need, you still don't have the puzzle, right? I don't care if you have 7, you still could fall apart and your life could break, right? So it's always that missing piece you don't have, what you don't know and you can't see that will end up hurting you. So what I'm trying to do is say to you, look, forget all the fringe. Let's go back to the basics. Make sure you have your whole life covered, all the foundations, and then you will be able to rise up and become a better person. So as far as what I'm concerned is what everybody is missing is the way. And I'm not saying that because it's about me or anything. I'm saying it because the way is for you to live rational, positive action. You know what I mean? For you to integrate virtues and best practices into your life, for you to become the best person you can possibly be, you need to have the right information. And it needs to be comprehensive. It needs to help you structure your day, help you with your relationships, help you with the society, and every other part of the facets of what makes you human, right? If you're going to truly succeed. So I would say, learn the way, and then join us, and then you can really participate in becoming the best person you can be and creating a better world.
What have you learned since the book has been published and you've been out talking to more and more people? Was there anything that kind of popped up that surprised you, or some more aha moments?
Yes. Well, just how hard it is to explain. It took me 30 years to write a book, and it's 400 and whatever pages. Now explain that in 2 minutes. You know what I mean? And explain it in a way that people will be interested to learn more. And then explain it in a way that they don't think it's something that they can just dismiss. When there's a lot of this negative thinking, I talk to good people all the time. I was just on a show where it was like, they didn't even look at the book. We were talking about something else. And the way they determined, that sounds like communism. It sounds like it's been tried before and it's always failed, utopia, whatever. And I'm saying it's none of those things. You know what I mean? It's not. So I talk about all the different government structures in here, and I'd say communism and dictatorships and all those are wrong. So I don't know how anybody can get it. If you understand the way, then you can't fall down that path because it's new. It isn't like anything you've seen before. So all good people out there, I know you're jaded. I know that we've all seen it. My God, I was there with you. The only reason I wrote this and I'm standing here today is because this is new. This is different. You cannot understand what the way is and deny the truth of it. You can only deny it if you don't look. And if you don't look, you're part of the problem. So what I'm saying is, like all good people, if you really want to be the best person you can be, you need to give this a shot. You need to give this a serious look. And again, this isn't about me. This is about somebody who was shown some things and discovered things after 30 years worth of research into what it is to be the best person you can be. I gave my life for this so that you can skip a whole bunch of steps, not have to go through reading all those thousands of books and doing all the research and spending weekends and nights and everything else of your life to try to just be your best. Get all this basic knowledge, start there, and then we can start to create a better society. Just imagine this. I know I'm going on a little long here, but imagine if no matter where you are in life, you get on this same page, and then we all do. We kind of join together and make these changes. But imagine the child that gets born to parents who then are integrating these best practices and virtues into their life. Imagine what their children's children are going to be like. And this is how the world becomes better and better and better. This isn't about conformity, unity as in the United States of America, not as in unity as in communism. You know what I'm saying? It's like unity in the United States of America is about individualism coming together with shared ideas and humanity and humane ways of doing things, and not dictatorship and one over the other, might makes right and all those kind of things. So what I'm talking about is something that's new. And that's how we can all really be our best and create a better world.
So we always like to get people to take action, right? You can read all the books you want. You can do all of this and that. But at the end of the day, it's about taking action. Do you have a recommendation for what's one action step people can take this week to move forward?
I would say go to my website and make this a priority to learn what the way is. Join the groups. We're starting out on Facebook. We're just doing our initial membership drive as we speak. They're going to be launching here. So join us, get the knowledge and participate in this solution. This is the only way it's going to work. I cannot do this myself. You know what I'm saying? It's all about us. So if you do anything, go to the website, get the knowledge, join us on Facebook.
And we will put links to all of that in the show notes for everyone. It's time to learn the secrets of life. What's your secret to living an abundant life?
My secret is that I know the way. I don't know how else to say it other than that. Because I live rational, positive action every day. That's what I work to do. If that makes sense.
Once you figure out the path, it becomes easier. And then you just start taking the steps and you create the life that you want.
That's exactly it.
What did you learn later in life that you wish you would have learned sooner?
Oh, gosh. That's why I wrote this book. I can't tell you how many times I was pissed off, like in my 30s or 40s. You're like, wow, I wish I knew this when I was a kid. I mean, just think about hydrating yourself properly, how to balance your nutrition out to be the healthiest person you can be, the importance of stretching in the morning and at night and all these kind of things so that you can live longer and healthier life, the mind exercises, how to meditate properly. I wish I knew that when I was a kid. I learned that in my teens and 20s. But knowing that as a kid probably would have saved me from really wanting to kill myself so much. So much. I mean, and again, I put it all in the book, so you don't have to worry about trying to find it all.
Cool. And last question. What is one piece of wisdom that you could give to an 18-year-old?
I would say this. I know it looks grim, but there are solutions out there. Don't discount knowledge from the past. We as human beings can skip a lot of steps, and this is how humanity has evolved, by taking the knowledge from the past, gaining it, and then adding on to it. So you, as an 18-year-old, are starting out in a world that is messed up from the generations and legacy systems and all the things that came before us, but don't lose hope. Okay, this is why you're here, is to help fix all of this. So find happiness in the fact that we can do this, and by uniting together, you can still be the best person you can be, create a better world, and that's why you're here right now. So have hope and stay there and just keep working at it. You'll get there.
And I think you've proven that with your life. You started off with some very rough starts, and yet in spite of that all, you've been able to build a life that you love and choose and have success.
And let me speak to that for a second. I remember when I was in 7th grade, I think it was my dad who said this. He said, you don't have to be what the world is telling you are. You can choose who you want to be. And he went through and said things like, look at all the people, look at everybody in life and see, what do you admire in them? what is it you like about these people? And again, goes down to you integrating virtues into your life. But it was, as a kid, I was like, I like cars. I like martial arts. He got me into martial arts when I was a kid and all these different things. And he goes, well, then make that something that you focus on in your life and make that who you are. If I was into tech, I was into technology. I have a very diverse mind. So my dad gave me the great books. He was like reading and everything else. Pick what you want to be. You can literally create yourself into a blob, gray type of building, or you can create yourself into a wonderful work of art. So what I'm saying to you is 18, you have a wonderful jump on the world. You get to know the way when you're young. I swear to God, this is the book I wish I found when I was your age. I was looking for it. Whoops. Sorry, I just ripped off my headset, everybody. I talk with my hands, and I get a little out of control. Sorry about that. But what I want to say is, like, we as humanity do learn from the past. So like I said, I wish I had this book when I was your age, and it will help you skip so many steps in life and go further. So get the knowledge and really don't give up hope. We can make the changes.
If they would like to learn more about you and find the book, what is the best way for them to do that?
Sure. The website is 7way Me because the book is named The Way. It's got 7 steps, and it's me because it makes it like a command. So 7way Me now. You can go to the website, get all the information you need. And again, on the website, you can learn about the way. You can join in the Action Center, which has got all sorts of resources for you. You can learn about the One Movement Party and Tribe, and where to join that. You can also find a bunch of videos on there, how to overcome negative thinking, depression, suicidal thoughts, addiction, how to fix our justice system, how to end corruption, and so many more. And there's going to be a lot more coming down the road. I'm just getting started. I need all the help I can get. This isn't about me. This is about us. So join me and help us. Okay, this is really, seriously, the action items isn't just to leave the show and go on. It's to please do something to make a difference in the world. Join me and help.
Thank you so much for joining us today, Andrew.
Thank you for having me on your show, Rocky. It's been awesome.
Do you let your past hold you back from your future? Andrew clearly had a tough start in life, but that didn't keep him from success. In spite of the many obstacles, he is achieving his goals. The obstacle is the way, as Ryan Holiday says. I hope that encourages you to keep moving forward. Once you figure out the real universal laws, you can make the changes you need. And unfortunately, they don't teach this in school. So you've got to figure it out for yourself. This week's action step was to learn more about Andrew and the Way and the groups he's created. If you enjoyed the episode, well, then check it out. I encourage you to figure out your path and take tiny steps every day towards what you choose as your ultimate success goals. Don't depend on others or follow their path. Make your own. Next week, we have an amazing guest. He's a former NHL star, Dave Scatchard, to share his journey and his book, The Comeback, My Journey Through Heaven and Hell. It's an amazing story. You're going to love it. Do you know someone who could benefit from listening to today's episode? I'd appreciate it if you would share it with them. They will thank you too. Thanks for listening. Have an abundant week.